Hello, officials, and welcome to the playoffs. This is Tyler Spear, your state coordinator of football officials for the Wyoming High School Activities Association. Thanks for your time again today, and thank you for all you've done throughout this season for the benefit of the athletes, the teams, and the schools across our great state. I'll tell you what, it can be a long haul throughout this 9 week season, jumping into the postseason, but I tell you what, they couldn't do it without us, and I really appreciate each official, each crew for your time, for all that you've sacrificed to make these games happen, and be sure to thank your loved ones as well, those that care about you, for allowing us to go and play on the gridiron every Friday and Saturday, and a few Thursdays in there as well. So be sure and do that. Please forgive if I cough in your ear. My youngest son decided to bring home something from school, and I'm not talking about a piece of artwork, and he shared it with the family. So I'll try not to cough in your ear too much. But as we move forward and go into the postseason, just like I talked about in the email that Chris and I shared, we want to do the little things right. Every year, at some point, a little thing becomes a big thing, right? And we have these things that come along in the playoffs that just a little thing that becomes a big thing, and then you become the topic of conversation. And so, as you prepare for this week's contest, whether you have a short drive or maybe you need to pack a go bag because your drive's not exactly what we would call a short distance, either way, make sure that you are talking about these little things in your pregame meeting on the road to your game so that they don't become big things when you get on the field. And so, counts, momentum, there's a whole list of them that we shared, right? Let's talk about those things and make sure that we do those well. Got a couple plays for you. There's some layers to them, but ultimately, that's kind of the theme for this week. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started here. See if I can get the little control here. Hide floating controls. There we go. Alrighty. So here we go. Here's our first play for you here. And what I would call this play here is a tale of two wings. And so as you can see, well, there you go. Now you can see them both. We're third and inside the 5, right? We have a line to gain as well as the goal line. So got the line to gain as well as the goal line in question here. And so we really need to be on top of our game when it comes to our goal line mechanics as wings. And this is one of those things, again, it's easy to take it down off here. We can't do that in the postseason. And this play here, we'll start by looking at the wing on the right side of the screen. Excuse me, we'll go to the wing on the left side of the screen. So if we look at this wing on the right side of the screen, as soon as we have a clean snap, goes to the goal line, the play doesn't go anywhere, and he officiates back. That's what we're looking for, wings. Get to the goal line as quick as you can, officiate, and then work back if we're short of the goal line. Now, if we look at our wing at the top, we can see that he stays home. And yeah, well, Tyler, the play didn't go anywhere. That's true. The point here is that we need to still get there and officiate back, because if this play does go anywhere, we need to have the best opinion as possible. Funny enough, let's go one play further. It's now 4th down. And we have, again, 2 lines in question. We have line to gain and money line. And as this play goes forward, I'm actually going to highlight one thing before we go to our wings, and that is something that our man in the white cap here does. So if we watch our white hat here as this play starts, you're going to see him wind the clock. And that's just an old mechanic, folks, right? Like in this situation, we had a run play that ended in bounds. There's absolutely no reason for us to wind this clock. It should be good. And if it's not good, referee, you've got the best look at that, because as we saw from the previous play, the clock's right over there. And so if you have clock issues, you can fix that well before the snap goes. So just get those unnecessary signals out of your mind. At some point, it could snake bite you, right? So just keep that in mind. But anyways, Excuse me. Let's look at our wing up here at the top of the screen on this play. Again, this is a fourth down. It's early in the game, sure. Doesn't matter whether it's first quarter or fourth quarter. We have line to gain, goal line, fourth down. Our radar should be up. And so here we go. If we watch our wing here, student body left. Boy, I'd like our view a lot better from the money line than from the 3.5, right? So we'll let this go one more time. And so again, wing officials, this is hugely important right here. Get to that pylon and officiate backwards. If you're worried about becoming part of this play, step backwards into the side zone. You have plenty of room there, okay? This is a little thing that becomes a big thing, right? Because we have two lines in question here. It looks like the line to gain is probably the 1. And then we have the goal line. And he does a good job stopping the clock because it's fourth down. But, man, we could have a better opinion on this if we did the goal line mechanics properly. So just as you prepare for this week, be mindful of those things. Mentally prepare them. Make sure we don't take it down off. And as you can see, we went first and goal from the 1 or the half-yard line, wherever we might happen to be. So, again, we're talking a yard here. Let's make sure we're in the best position possible to get this. Possible helping the runner there. We're not going to worry about that. I like that this wing on the bottom pinches in. The H follows suit, marks him short. So, again, little things that can become big things. If we're positionally correct, our credibility goes through the roof. Mechanically correct equals credibility boost. Mechanically incorrect, credibility in question. Not saying that here, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. All right, now if we go to the next one here, this play here is pretty interesting, and the reason why, excuse me, I'm going to show you this clip first on Huddle because the Huddle film is awesome, and then we're going to go to the second part of it on the Federation feed just so that we can see some of the dead ball. So one of the other things that we talked about this week on our weekly email that Chris and I crafted is penalty enforcement. And so if we watch this play, and I'll draw your attention quick to this defensive tackle right here, number 50. He's gonna be our man. So I want you to watch his pass rush as this play pursues, or as this play continues. And we'll go from there. Pass play, pocket breaks down. Ooh, looks like we have some issue here. So if we look at this in slow motion, if we look at 52's block, he's beat, he cheats, he pulls, and as you'll see come in, there goes the yellow. Result of the play is an incomplete pass. Okay, one more time at normal speed, and then we'll go over to the Federation feed, and we'll look at what we're actually here to look at. All right, result of the play is an incomplete pass. So if we watch this same play on the live stream from the Federation Network, and this is early in the game, right? 2nd and 12, second play from scrimmage. But still, this is something super important when we talk about penalty enforcement. So here goes the play. A referee gets on the hammer, funny whistle, tweet, tweet, tweet. What do we got? He uses his radio. Really good by the HL to get the decision from the head coach, and then you saw him point. That gets the White Hats' attention that that's what we're going to have, is we're going to enforce this. And then from there, what we do see that's a little different is that we have the H and the U, and they wait, and they kind of watch the referee's presentation. We don't need to do that. We can absolutely march. And so what we want from this point on, and I'll just let it go. These guys do it right. They just do it a little less than quicker than we want. So you see the H and the U, and they march together the 10 yards. And the L down here, we'll back this up. The L, he starts, oh, went too far, excuse me. The L starts on the 49-ish where he needs to, but then he goes and he starts interfacing with coaches and all that, and he kind of meanders. Line judges, you are the crew saver in this moment. You're going to hold that line of scrimmage, that previous line of scrimmage, which is the 49. The umpire and the head linesman are going to march. And then you're going to hustle and march secondarily to make sure that we actually mathed correctly, right? I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I have trouble counting, past about 4. And so, line judges, you can be the crew saver here by making sure that on this penalty we marched 10 and not 15 or 11 or 9. And so the umpire here does a great job. Oh, too far. Hang on just a minute. The umpire here does a great job checking off with his head linesman. They march together. Line judge, you got to make sure and be the crew saver here. You can interface with the coach after the fact, right? If he's got a question or whatever it might be. The other thing here, back judges, you don't have it off just because it's penalty enforcement. Make sure you're communicating with your referee, and you just saw why. Back judges, you're communicating clock status to your referee. And the reason for that is, as you can see, our referee here spins the clock, and the result of the previous play was an incomplete pass. So we all have a role in penalty enforcement. We want it to be crisp. We want it to be clean. We want it to be quick. But everybody has a job. 2 guys marching together, making sure we math correctly. Line judges, crew saver number 1. Back judge, clock status, communicate that with your referee. Referee, we got to pontificate, get into position, and then be ready to blow that ready for play. In this instance, we're just blowing the RFP. We're not winding, obviously. But whether it's hot clock or a dead clock, we want to be in position to referee just as soon as everything's marched, right? And we still end up almost in that point. So even though the crew waited till the referee was done presenting, that's fine. Ideally, we want to be done marching by the time the referee's done talking. But all this to say, this is an area of our game that we have to do exceptionally well because nobody likes this part of the game. It does not matter if the penalty is big or if it's some nickel dimer like a false start. It's our fault that they jumped. That's the way it goes. But if we can enforce penalties efficiently, we look the part, right? In the college and pro levels, they're looking for their crews to enforce a false start or an encroachment in like 7 seconds. Not asking for that here, obviously, but we want to be efficient. We want to get through these penalty enforcements as quickly as we can and get the football back to going. So just go as quickly as we can here. Again, the U and the H, great march. LJ, stay focused and then interface with the coach. Back judge, you could have been a crew saver here by making sure your white hat knows that we have a dead clock instead of a hot clock. Referee, try and remember that, but obviously get help if you need to. All this to say, folks, penalty enforcement is going to be one of those things that puts us in the spotlight this week and throughout the playoffs. Take the time to pregame it. Take the time to practice it. Make sure we look sharp out there. And that really goes for everything we do, right? From the moment we take the field, let's make sure we look sharp. Let's make sure we get the little things correct. So on behalf of your state football representative, Chris Edwards, and myself, we just want to thank you guys again for a wonderful season. Thanks for all the clips, the questions, the phone calls. We hope some of this training has been helpful, and I'm hopeful that you'll get some fruit, some positives out of the postseason, and most importantly, just keep doing what we love here, right? That's the important part of this, is that we just continue to elevate interscholastic athletics by doing something and doing it well. Reps, that's all I have for you this week. This is Tyler Spear, your state coordinator of football officials. Thank you again for your time. Thank you again for your service. Travel safe this week, and we will see you down the road.